Hi everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this video is going to be an overnight research video going into the rest of the week, which is going to be April, what is tomorrow? April 11th will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we're going to just review some of the things that happened today and anything here fun. It's a good get-together. If something happens amazing on this video, I'll have it recorded. If not, I'll probably delete it and no one will ever hear it. So if you hear this up to this part, then you're probably going to have some good stuff on this video, because if there's nothing good, I'm going to delete it. All right, we'll be back. I'm going live, back on a recording here. What the hell is going on here? Wow, that was a little flush there. I was zoomed in pretty good, but it came down to the pivot and it took out the lows. Now there's a little more volume picking up here. I'm not seeing anything cross the wire right now, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind if something bad news. I do have some puts on the table. I mean, it's kind of a balance at this point where you want to see this market go. I would probably overall like to see it go up, and I would be burned out of my puts. But if my puts work out over the next session, just kind of taking a hedge into this market, let it be. So be it. So be it. I'll take those profits. We've been doing okay on some of these puts and calls. And it kind of becomes a gamble, because there's so much news that's dropping overnight, and when that news, when you wake up, the market could be up 30 points on the S&P, or it could be down 30 points, or 300 points on the Dow. That's what the normal is now, at least on probably the 10-day average. So market here, another little breakdown. Now, I've noticed this a couple times today. With a fast breakdown here at 11:30, a fast breakdown here at 12:30, a fast breakdown here at 1:30, a fast breakdown here at 2:30. Now we just had a little fast breakdown here coming into 8 o'clock. So, I don't know what triggers this. If we could actually, someone to figure that out, where we saw the selling come in, and was there news that dropped? That would be a good, just kind of a back test here. Was there news right before 12:30? Was there news right here where the volume spiked up, selling volume spiked up? Each one of these drop-offs, there was a little volume coming in. Where's there some type of news? The volume is still there, starting to pick up a little overnight. So we'll see what happens from here. But I want to bring back the live video right here. Just because I saw some volume coming up, Asia markets are opened up, I don't know. There's something out there. And I feel there's bad news brewing. So bring it back. Even though this looks like a divergence, I'm shying away from it, and actually it's starting to turn over. Right when it starts to turn over like that, I don't care. There's too many good ones. Here was a great divergence right here. The divergences actually mark the lows and the highs and the lows of the day, the majority of the time. That was the high. Well, yeah, that was the high of the day, and even the low of the day back here was a divergence. So actually, we came back 12:30, but really the big pattern of the day was this falling wedge pattern, divergence, falling wedge. Actually, a channel. You can see there's a slight angle to it. Downward channel and wedges. When we talk about divergence in those patterns, they mean the same. If you have a downward channel that's identified by a 1, 2, 3 pattern. In this case, it's really a wedge pattern, but it's just it's what you're looking at. I mean, it takes a little experience to to kind of identify the better patterns than some of the sloppier ones. This was pretty organized. Remember, we always talk about going into the 950 area. The market seems to be really just chopping around a lot, not directly going down, but coming up, making a big wedge pattern. Any type of downward move into a 950 is a buy on my side. That's where we get most of our reversals. And we actually probably had one of the better reversals right here, 950. So again, combined with a divergence, combined with a pattern recognition, that was the best setup of the day. And, it gave 38 to 62, whatever, 20-something points. Not that you're going to get the whole thing. We had a tradeometer set up, then we had a double stochastic, what do we have, a 2020 trade, a triple stochastic a 2020 flag right here. A couple flags. You know, we outlined this market pretty much the whole day. This wedge pattern, and we had news here which flushed us out, but we came down to a measured move of a wedge pattern breakdown. We have a new channel developing. We had the Zuckerberg trial. You know, did you see that? They had, I mean, again, I could cross the line here. But do you think they should have had some younger people on that panel that used Facebook or understands what Facebook is? Shit, now the market's going to hold this divergence. Divergences work out 8 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times. You have to develop the confidence to believe in that and take those as when you see them. I'll teach you how to find them. Identify really good ones. Even I have a hard time someone taking them because sometimes you don't know if this is news or is this Asia. Oh, man. You know what? If I would have looked over here, I would have seen that tradeometer just triggered at the same exact place. So that would have probably been the capper for me. If you have all these things lining up, all right, this is your ultimate trade setup. Divergence and tradeometer signal and recognizable pattern. In this one, there's not really one. It's just a news thing. There's no recognizable. But is it divergence? A divergence and a tradeometer. Nice. I think everyone should have the Twitter feed. You know, it's a cheap alternative to paying for expensive news feeds. Everything comes out on Twitter. You just have to find the right followers. I have a great list of followers that I follow. If you need my list, I'll give it to you. Just contact me. I'll try. I don't know how you. I'll just give you the best I can. But I follow one that's called Conflict News, and it just it covers all the conflicts around the world, all the hot spots, any type of strikes and military operations and surveillance planes. It's just a really good feed, and it's called. I'll actually retweet the. I want to retweet it right now. Just so you could actually grab onto it, because they don't spam or anything, but they give you good information on conflicts around the world, which could be market moving. So breaking news: Eurocontrol warns of airlines to exercise caution in the Eastern Mediterranean due to possible launch of strikes into Syria in the next 72 hours. Actually, they're retweeting this from Reuters. So I guess Reuters is the number one. Let me see what Reuters' last tweets are. Yeah, so Reuters actually tweeted that out first. So actually, I would just, pay attention to Reuters. So we had that little divergence, not part of this, but we are watching it. Personally, with those little shorts I have, I started gathering some. I have some shorts from Friday into Wednesday. I have some shorts from Monday into Wednesday, and I have some shorts today into Wednesday. So I have quite a few shorts, puts in the way of puts, just to kind of a little protection because it just feels weird. And if that, so when I'm kind of set up like that, you can't help but not mind there's if there's any almost, I don't want to say I'm hoping for bad news. I'm hoping for my puts to pay off, because I would like to see the perfect scenario for me: news breakdown, fast cover, market starts moving back up. Because this shorting business is going to be very hard to do soon. I feel this market is trying to go higher. It's just that the news items keep on jumping out, but every time there's a little breakdown, buyers come right in, and I've been seeing that a lot. Let's just take a look at the SPX here today. We had a pretty decent day, and this still leads to the divergence setup. The divergence setup here, I think, is the most powerful setup on our chart, and that we are pushing higher. We haven't crossed up higher here. That's interesting also. We haven't, today's day wasn't a powerful enough day to put in a higher low. It's still kind of just choppy, and so it's kind of, something's not right here in my eyes. Tomorrow will be a big day because we could actually get back up to that area of resistance. Every day seems to be an area of resistance, though. I had 26.74, but I have some other levels that I would be watching too. Of course, today's high is 26.69 or 26.70. So you're looking at a whole band of levels. And when you get up to 26.97 and 2700 is a big number. So you have all these levels up here, but eventually this trend line is my big level. So, I think we have a shot of getting there. Any bad news, definitely going to drop down and test this 25, 29. I think we actually break down through that and actually set up a different pattern. So if there's any bad news, I'm expecting a breakdown of this 25, 29 level, even though it seems such a great level. And I actually watched the level underneath this in a beautiful 1, 2, 3 pattern that's starting to form here. Downward move, sideways consolidation, rotation up. A move down wouldn't be that bad, in my opinion. We'll wait for it. I'm not feeling it. I still am slightly bullish to the upside, but I have my hedge because there's something that's kind of uneasy, and I love to be right on that. I'd love to have supernatural powers and feel, I called another great smackdown, but that would be luck. So, for those out there to listen for the first time, the day I met Prince, I wrote a post about it. I was down, it was back in the 80s, and I was a big fan of Miami Vice. I used to, me and Don Johnson have very similar looks. So I used to dress like him, and I wore these white pants exactly like he wore. Exactly like he wore. I didn't have the gun holster, but I ended up going down to the city with a friend of mine who was a cop. And we went to a club that night, and we just got out of the car because we saw a big line of people trying to go into this club. And I'm standing in line with my friend. His name was Chris. But sometimes he went by the name Doug, too. He was a Jamaican guy. And I used to work with him at the post office. And then he quit. He took the test for the police department. He got hired, and he was working for the Nike Police Department. So we just bought that. And he just bought a Ford Explorer, and he calls me up one day, and he goes, "Let's go to the city, go out to a club." I said, "All right." So he picks me up. We're driving down in his car, and we park in the garage after we noticed a big line of people. Waiting to go into a club. Now, back in the 80s, I had all these great clubs. This club, I think, was called Club. I don't even know what the name of it. I'm not even going to give it justice. It was like on 47th or 48th or 49th. It was in the 40s, Midtown, and and it was a big line of people. So we parked in the garage. And let me know if you're hearing this. Anybody hearing this? I want to make sure I'm not talking to no one. Because I can't see the chat. There we go. All right, good. I want to make sure that all the audio is working and stuff. Anyway, so I'm online, and the one thing I noticed about the line is that we're in the back. There's a big line, and I noticed a couple things. About 5, 6 people ahead of me, this black kid or guy with that big long hair, big afro, but it's standing straight up. And there was a lot of people taking this picture and yelling out, and it was Kid and Play. Remember Kid and Play? So it was a rap, and I said, "Wow!" I said, "That's Kid and Play." And then people start screaming, and someone comes out of the club, and it was Heavy D and the boys, and they were crossing. The people were, "Hey, Heavy D, man!" And it was calling. I remember seeing his glasses and stuff, and I went in line. I was like, "Wow, man, what the hell what are we doing?" This is some club. Not realizing, I wasn't a big club goer. I think that really started off my clubbing days, going to this thing, and then I ended up starting to go to clubs. It was probably the early 80s. So we finally get up there, and the other thing I noticed, I was pretty much the only white guy in line, which didn't bother me. I didn't realize it until after the fact. I didn't realize it until after I started talking about the stories and stuff like that. So we get to the line, and the guy has a clipboard out, and he goes, "What name?" It's like, "What name? We want to go into the club." And my friend Doug, let me back things up a bit. In the parking garage, he parked his car, and being a police officer, he had his gun on him. And he goes, I can't leave my gun in the car. I got to bring it with me. So, all right, I said, yeah, I don't know. You're the cop. I'm the postal worker, aspiring trader. And so he takes it, and we're on line. And we finally get up to the line, and there's a clipboard, and the guy's like, name. I said, we're on the list. I said, well, this is a private party. So we find out it's a private party. But you could tell from the guy who was talking to us, who was Jamaican, had a very thick Jamaican accent. So all of a sudden, my friend, who's Jamaican also, was like, took the opportunity to say, where wherever. They start talking about Jamaica, and like, where you from? He goes, oh, from that, I'm from there. And the next thing, they're from the same town. From the same town. And so they start talking about this one lady who used to sell milk, the milk lady and stuff, and they talk milk lady, and then then he breaks into, hey, we would like to get in there. He goes, well, it's a party, it's a prince throwing a private party. I said, he goes, come on in, you'll be my guest. So he brings us in. Oh, and we had to go through a metal detector. So Doug got he goes, oh, I'm a police officer. Like that's all they want in there. It's a private party. And he says he's a police officer. So he goes, I have my sidearm. I couldn't leave it in the car. He goes, well, you can't bring that in here. We can't have a gun in the. He shows him badge and everything, and it just starts to turn bad there. And he goes, well, the best thing we could do is actually, put it in the safe. So they wrap it up in a paper bag, and then they tape it. And he initials it over the tape, and they put it into the safe. And they said, have a great night, guys. And he opens the curtain, and we go out there in a smoke-filled paradise. So it's there's music playing. It's just surreal at this point. Surreal. But the thing was funny. It was real dark and stuff, and I had these white pants on. I probably had exactly what Don Johnson looked like, except I probably already had a receding hairline. And I had white pants on just like this. And I had a blue shirt or some kind of pastel colors because I thought I was Don Johnson. And I walk into this place that's really dark, probably has black lights on it, so I'm glowing. I'm the only white guy in there, and I'm kind of glowing with my white pants and my fluorescent blue shirt. And Doug goes, here, you have to follow me to the bathroom. So I said, all right, well, what's going on? So we go down the hallway, and or outside the bathroom. He goes, I'm going to go in. He goes, I have another firearm on me. He goes, I have my ankle gun on me. I said, I can't be carrying it in here. There's too much illegal activity going on. I don't want anything happening. I said, I need you to hold it. I'm like, all right. All right. So he goes, I want to go inside. I want to put it on the toilet. I want to come out. You go inside, put it in your pants. I said, all right. So I do that. I go in there. It's a stub nose, like 45. It's a real small gun, but it's a revolver. And it has a revolver. It has a freaking revolver on it. It's pretty fat, and I'm like trying to stick it in my front of my pocket, but I have these white linen pants on, and you can see the outline of it, right? Like you could just see the outline of the gun in my pants against my against my leg. And so we go out there, and then I said, oh, you know what? I'll put it in the back pocket. And I had one of those pockets, those white pants that you're looking at right there. They have that one pocket in the back, not on both sides, just one side. It has a button. You can barely fit stuff in it. And I stuck it in there. And then I walked outside, and I stayed against the wall the whole time. I stood against the wall. And finally, we went up to the bar. With me packing heat. Imagine something going down, and I'm packing heat. We go up to the bar. I ordered my drink of choice at that time was a White Russian. So I ordered a White Russian, and there's marijuana smoke all over the place. And Doug tells me at the time, he goes, I think we need to get out of here. It's just, I don't feel comfortable. I said, yeah, that's fine with me. I don't feel that comfortable either. So we end up, the bartender is like, so what's, even though we knew outside, it was a private. He said it was a private party. We didn't know whose party it was until we got in and talked to the bartender. So we got up to the, we talked to the bartender and said, "What's going on? What party is this?" Like, he's looking at us like, "Should you even be here? It's a private party." He goes, "It's Prince's party." I said, "No way." I said, "Oh." So I looked at the time. I said, "We got to meet him." I said, "Where's Prince?" He goes, "It's up there on that, and there was a separate area that was all roped off, a little higher, a couple steps up, and there was a big guy there, big guy with a big beard, big long hair. Looked like he looked like Grizzly Adams, the only other white guy in the club." And I said, "Well, how are we going to get up there? How are we going to meet?" I said, "Let's just walk up." I told him, I said, "Let's just walk up." That's what I always used to do. I said, if you feel like you don't belong, act like you belong, and most people won't even ask. So here he goes. All right. So we're going to walk right up there. Walk right up. He's going to open the thing. We're going to walk right in. So he does it. He looks at us. I walk right up to the place. And then Doug has to talk because, of course, I'm short compared to this guy. This guy is like 6'7", and like Grizzly Adams. And it was like, can we go in here? He goes, "No, this is a private section." And we knew it was a private section. At that point, the whole gig was up, and it was like just started and faded away into the woodwork. I was, "Oh, okay, all right." We didn't try to pull any other stunts because we just get denied, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. So we ended up leaving at that point, and we left. We left the whole party. It was too uncomfortable. Anyway, I regress. That's how I was dressed. That's how I was dressed. Oh man, was the guy cool? Now you got to bring back this, not this. Sonny Crockett in his pastel colors. Dun, 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 dun. Even though it was Crockett and Tubbs. Oh, he just shot him. Go get him, Crockett. Killed him. Run across the buffet. Shoot him. Shoot him. Junior, shoot him. They got him. Oh, here's a car chase now. All right, well, you get the idea. I remember this scene too. This was my favorite show. This was my favorite show. Can anybody relate to that? Can anybody? Hey, Rick. I thought it was Thursday nights, but maybe it's Friday nights. Maybe it was Friday nights. I think you might be right now. Anyway, back here doing the overnight show. You got to hear my Prince video. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, on my audio here, just because, who knows? Market might go to zero tonight. We never know. Another tradeometer alert. Another tradeometer alert. There was a tradeometer divergence signal here, and you know what? It actually worked out fine. and moved up to the 50-period moving average. Now we have a volume spike here. And we have a tradeometer signal right there. So let's see what happens here. NZED, maybe NZED will show up tonight, and we'll get to hear his latest update here. He's been a kind of a perma bear lately, from what I could read in the chat room. I mean, I agree with him some days. I don't know if he's looking at 1820 as his ultimate target. I just feel that the market's going to do math before that. They're going to start doing math and saying this doesn't add up. 1820 doesn't add up anymore. Let's take a look where that 1820 would come in. But again, I would never have guessed 666 in the market. 1820. There's 1830. Really? He's thinking of 1820? Come on, Ed. Flip-flop here. Good to talk to you, man. If this correction is a textbook, we should tag 2467, 38% retracement, February 2016 lows. I'll show you a couple things on my screen. I'll bring that up here. Good night. Who's going to bed? Oh, Pixie, we're going to miss you. I didn't even get to sing you a song. But I'll leave you with a song. All right? I'll leave you with a song. Have a good night. I'm not singing it now. No. I'm just leaving you with one. All right, so back here live with you. We just got out of a trade. The higher low on the stochastic, very steep. It wasn't the textbook one, but it was a good one anyway. You can see that bottom, that red line represents the low, and you can see how this didn't really touch that low, but look at the steepness of this line right here. This turned back up on the stochastics on both the 9 and the 14. So very nice right here. Very, very nice. Probably even goes a little bit higher. I mean, I think the trade is over because we have rotated all the way up. And last time we rotated all the way up, we start to turn back down. But with the 5-minute on our side, I would say there's a chance of a further move higher. Kind of just to let you know that if you're out there still trading this pattern, I think there's a better chance of a follow through than any other time in this pattern. But either way, I am out of the trade right now. All right, so what do we have next here? That's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to get a little volatility in the market to kind of give us an opportunity, and a divergence is an opportunity. You can see a divergence, not a great one here, but definitely very similar to closing price divergence. You can see it on that 1-minute time frame on. We looked over here. This is a much better divergence. But that little candle right here, you can barely see it, but it was good. It was a tradeometer too. Tradeometer also. Tradeometer, divergence, breakout. On the video here, so let me go over that again. We just went on, we're just talking about the 5-minute time frame that was behind this divergence setup. Now, this divergence was great in its own, yet because we had the 5-minute time frame, we look for a little bit further move. It was a good trade after hours, but I want to remind you that 5-minute cash or 5-minute futures trade, I have it on the 60-period time frame. It's very similar. So I could actually look at down here and see that we have a slow grind here on the 60, pushing up, also on the 40, and we have the embedded stochastics here. But because this is just starting to come up off the 20, I know if I go to that 5-minute time frame, it's also going to just start to come back up here. All right, so just think about the relationship between the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the time frames, the periods. You know, this longer period, or this 60 periods going back, 60 candles going back, is going to, it's going to take into consideration a not as fast of the rotation as the 1 minute time frame. We're going to have a slower rotation, just like that 5-minute time frame. I find that 60-minute time, 60-10-10, 60-10-1, just a great indicator, for certain setups. Now, that's where we are standing right now. Just a recap of some of the new divergences that are setting up for tomorrow. I want to go over them. Agilent, A. Take a look at the daily on this. Very nice. A higher low, a lower low on this candle. We had a follow through. We're already breaking through that trend line. That was a divergence we pointed out yesterday. VRTX, and it continues to hold up pretty good. Another good divergence holding above the 20 line, a little spike down, lower low, and a nice move higher today. Either way, it looks good. Veritex Pharmaceuticals. I want to go out on that weekly so you don't get. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. It's looking really, really good here. The 5-minute pullback with a divergence. It doesn't get better than that. Starting to break out. So the VRTX here, keep an eye on that for tomorrow, the next few days. Expect this one to move higher, back over the 20-period moving average. I don't see this one trending down for no reason. All right, let me see what we have. Yeah, that's good. The VRTX, we left off with that one. And then we have the Biogen, BIIB, which was a nice little divergence here. I like the secondary divergence. After sometimes you have a first divergence here, barely. You had this sideways consolidation. When you see the sideways consolidation and a move back up, that's a negative setup. Gives you enough time to get out and recognize that before it breaks down. But this secondary divergence that now is coming in, we're still holding on to that. It's a little bit better, for an upside move. So I would consider this one also. The Corning GLW, one that I'm very bullish on right at this level, looking for a breakout of this channel. You can see it better on the 60-minute time frame. And we did slowly get a move out of this. Starting, nothing exciting about it, but I definitely feel okay with this one. WBT, well built. I expected the better things from this. Right now, it hasn't moved. The possibility of this bigger wedge pattern playing out and it gets down here, 17. I wouldn't want that to happen. That would be disappointment in me, for me. Before we get a breakout to the upside here, I expect more of a break up to the $20 point versus a breakdown to the $18 point. And then again, but you can see the daily is kind of turned over here. And if we do take out the lows and hold above that 20, we will have a divergence. This is not my favorite. Corning definitely taking the lead on this week's watch list. All right, closing out the video right here. Just a little update on the markets, a couple of little notes and stuff. Markets here closing near the low. Well, actually at the lows right now. Looks like we're going to take out the lows. I don't know where we're going to end up tomorrow. Maybe we're going to end up 20, 30 points down. Who the hell knows? You know what? I know how to identify great trading opportunities here, but going into tomorrow, who the hell knows where we're going to end up going at this point. Just let the market open up tomorrow. We'll make money. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you then. All right. All right.